Good people and inhabitants of planet Earth, both foreign and domestic, welcome to the Durahuman Paradox. I'm your host, Darius, Riddick, and I would like to thank you for joining me in what is nominally the next stage of evolution for humankind. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome and thank you for your investment of time, a finite resource, a valuable resource of which you have no idea how much you have. But we do understand that it is limited and you choose to spend a small amount of it here. And for that, I am grateful. And those that will come after us, I'm sure will be grateful as well. For those of you that may be returning for multiple times, your investment of time is also appreciated because without you, this wouldn't even be possible. So what we are doing here, every once in a while, we have to circle back to what the Durahuman paradox is. Maybe we have some new visitors. Maybe it's been 10, 20, or 30 episodes, or maybe we just need a little reminder. Whatever that reason may be, understandably, we must understand what that is in order to effectively move forward. So the Durahuman paradox, first of all, what the heck is a paradox? Okay, by definition, a paradox is a seemingly absurd or contradictory statement that, when investigated, may be proven true. Now, there's a lot to that definition, but the important parts to highlight are seemingly absurd, investigated, and proven true. And those three things speak to our duty, our mission, and our objectives here with the Durahuman paradox. So when we talk about something that's seemingly absurd, it's absurd to try and simplify the complexities of the human machine and of human performance because there's so many different variables. There's so much chaos. There's so many different things going on. And it's just, where do we start? Where do we mesh? Where do we end? So it's absurd to try something like this. But that's where the investigation portion comes from. There have been countless, hundreds of thousands of ideas of topics that once upon a time were also seemingly absurd. But our predecessors, even those that are still alive today, had the courage, the bravery to be able to challenge them, to investigate them, to try and understand what they actually mean, and with the information that we are given, is it actually true? Which is very important to many of the concepts that we'll have moving forward. So when it's possible that it is proven true, it's simply asking a question, that hypothesis, that if-then statement. If the human body is extremely complex, then it's possible to simplify it by breaking it down into smaller pieces. And that is what we are doing. So originally, the Durahuman paradox was 26 health theories that I chose specifically that someone could take away right now and use in their life to create a better quality of it. Because that's ultimately the goal. Our predecessors before us worked hard, blood, sweat, tears, and all kinds of effort and money and things that went into creating the life that we have today. It's the reason why you can see me, why you can hear me, and it's the reason why we can effectively live the way we do today. And right now we have that duty, through the Durahuman paradox, through our daily pursuit of health and human performance, to be able to carry that forward, to create the foundation for those that come after us for a better quality of life. And it's the honorable way to do it, and that's what we're doing. So to be a part of the Durahuman paradox, just to be here, I'm grateful for your presence because that's what we are doing, creating a better quality of life for those that come after us, not just for us, but for those that succeed us as well. So typically, since we talked about that, we have a topic, but we start with this day in history. And the reason why we start with this day in history is because in order to have an idea or understand where we are, to have any foresight of the future, we must understand where we have been. And, today is one of those days where it is a sensitive topic for a lot of people out there. So we won't dive into it. But our duty today is to honor the close to 3,000 lives that were lost in the terrorist attacks of 9/11. And the way we do that is by exactly what we're doing today. We continue to live life to the fullest, taking it one day at a time, to be able to interpret these topics so that those that come after us and those that no longer have the opportunity to live can be honored and supported. So today's topic is actually tool 13 in the Durahuman paradox, which is logotherapy. And wow, for those of you that may be new or that have missed a couple episodes, we've talked about logotherapy frequently. And before we dive into what it truly means and how it affects human performance, understand that regardless of where you sit right now, in some way, logotherapy has affected you, and it will continue to affect every single human throughout their entirety of their lifespan, maybe tens or hundreds of thousands of times. So I felt it most appropriately, to really dive into this and to almost over explain in the actual book itself. So logotherapy itself was created by Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor. And we look at logotherapy as one of the schools of psychoanalysis. And basically, this is just our interpretation of our world. And logotherapy actually, I guess you can imagine what therapy means, but logo is actually derived from the Greek word of logos, which means logic. So it's almost implying that there is a therapy behind the logical interpretation. And that's exactly, some of the things that Viktor Frankl actually puts forward in saying that man's will to live is actually through his search for meaning. And frequently throughout this, and we'll have a little excerpt here I want to read for you all, that understand that some of the language is gender specific, but we're speaking from a gender neutral standpoint because it's the Durahuman paradox. So in some way, shape, or form, this has affected you. So what I want to do is I have a copy of it right here, actually. So I wanted to make sure that I read this off so that we have an understanding of where we sit with the concept of logotherapy. So logotherapy actually has three parts of it. And those three parts are: one, even in the most miserable and austere conditions, man's life has meaning. Two, man's motivation for living is in his ability to find meaning in life. And three, every man has the innate ability to find meaning through encourageable attitude in what they do and experience, even during times of suffering. So what is so important about logotherapy and Viktor Frankl's creation of it? First of all, the word we're looking for here is adversity. And this is what I wanted to put out as far as human performance. And this is probably going to be the most important thing that I've ever put out to you all ever. Okay. When it comes to human performance, it is not more important to understand what is going to propel you versus what is going to inhibit you. Throughout our scientific discoveries of physiology in general, neural communications, hormonal interactions, the way the different systems actually have a form of chaos where they just naturally work together. Where we have discovered and learned the most about the human machine is not by what makes it better, but what destabilizes it. And this is also known as homeostatic disruption. Homeostasis is the body's ability to maintain balance. Okay. We know that the body wants to heal. It wants to survive. It wants to balance itself out. So our focus and the things that we need to understand the most is what is going to disrupt that balance and what is going to bring it back to being in a balanced state. And how we do that is through interpretation. And interpretation from the school of psychoanalysis is the most important part of logotherapy, because Viktor Frankl understood that adversity is inevitable. We know today in the modern culture that adversity is something that is going to affect everyone in a different way. It's something that you are going to experience in different temperatures, in different amounts throughout the entirety of your lifespan, however long that may be. It is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But logotherapy is in its importance, and why I chose it to be one of the tools in the Durahuman paradox out of all the tools out there, is that it emphasizes that it is not just about what is happening. It's about how you interpret what is happening, how you interpret what is destabilizing your balance, and how you can return back to that balance. Now, This may seem a little bit confusing, and I understand that. So we're going to take a little step back, but just understand that we're bridging multiple disciplines right now. And that is one of our superpowers, because in order when we start bridging these disciplines, when we start understanding how psychoanalysis connects to just basic physical performance, and what it means to understand when things are disrupted and how to return to a state of homeostasis, or to return to a state of balance, that is how we begin to make things better in the future. It kind of goes back to something that we talked about maybe 10, 15, 20 episodes ago with shared information. In logotherapy, if you notice at tool 13, it's right in the middle of the 26 theories that we discuss for that reason, because it is the bridging discipline. It is the bridge between all these gaps that we have struggled with in the past. And this is so important now because technology and our understanding and application of human performance and human performance research is at the best possible position it could ever have been before. Technology has never been more evolved. Our openness and honesty and our willingness with where we are as a big R race has never been more true, has never been more honest. So we are in the best possible position to begin to understand these concepts, apply them, and make them better. And the school of logotherapy helps us do that like no other, because every single concept of human performance, whatever it is that you want to do, right? If you just want to eat better, if you want to have a better diet, if you want to have some aesthetic improvements, so you want to improve the look of your body, whether that's just the glutes, or whether that's your core, or maybe that's just more broad shoulders. Whether you want to be a better competitor in a sport, you want to improve your VO2, how well you can breathe, how well you can change direction, how high you can jump. Whatever your goal is, the mastery is going to be understanding what can destabilize it, what can destabilize that balance wherever you may sit, and what is going to help return back to that sense of balance. But the key here is that in order to foster change, there has to be some level of adversity. That the human body in general, is designed to respond to the adversity in a positive way. But where we give it the best possible chance, the best fighting chance, is in our ability to interpret it. The interpretation piece is going to be key to making those goals possible. But that's all the time we have for today. Until next time, when we finish off this conversation, stay durable, my friends.